what strategies do you use to help parents understand the importance of mental health when there may be cultural barriers?
Yeah, I can, start off by I'm not sure if, I have, a concrete answer, but my initial thought when I heard that question was, growing up in an immigrant household, I think it was really hard to talk about my mental health, especially because I was scared that my parents and, my grandparents wouldn't understand, the validity of mental health and mental illnesses, and so I think making sure that your parents or your loved ones understand that all pain is valid, I feel like that's something that I live by. um, I think that's like the first start because I think it's really easy to view a mental illness or an emotional struggle as not as worthy as having a physical illness, um, which just is not the case. And so I would say that's one barrier to break down initially. I don't know if anyone has anything they'd like to add to that.
I add to that. I also grew up in an immigrant family, so my family is from Iran, and I would say my dad, my entire family are more of a conservative family when it comes to mental health and things that are more not controversial, but like things that are more up in the air, I guess, like when it comes to that country and there. And so it was, I think, some strategies that really worked for my family was just like really being honest with them, being like, I'm not like, I just want to be honest with you. This is how I feel. Like, I need help. I'm not trying to like do something. Like, I'm not trying to just like be dramatic or like things that they thought what was going on. So I just was honest with them and said, like, I need help. I'm not making it up. Just please, like, let's work on it together. So yeah, just like working together and finding a way to, um, to figure it out all as a family instead of individually and struggling by yourself.
I can also add to that. My parents are also immigrants, but something that helped for me is when they grew up, they didn't really talk about mental health. It wasn't really a topic that they knew much about, so they didn't know how to approach me with that when I was having struggles. Um, so something that really helps is just exposing them to what mental health is. Actually, the way my mom learned was going to a safe space video presentation where they showed like three safe space videos. And my mom came home and she talked to me about it and she learned a little bit more about mental health, and specifically about teenagers. So I think it's really important that your parents also get exposed to what mental health is and how it affects you because a lot of times they won't know.
And I think just to add on to Mira, I feel like when you hear someone say "Oh, educate your parents on mental health," I feel like that can be pretty daunting just because there's so much to cover. But I think something that Safe Space has taught me is even asking, your child or asking someone else, "How are you doing?" "How are you feeling?" Just checking in. That's something that I've, kind of integrated into my family, just at family dinners instead of asking, "Did you do this? Did you do that?" It's more like, "How are you doing? How are you feeling?" I think that's a great first step in approaching mental health and approaching emotional wellness. Yeah, and I learned that from Safe Space. So
Yeah, I'll just also like Mira mentioned a video of that we have at Safe Space. That I don't know, Annie, if you want to find the link or something, but we have like a really great video about dealing with or mental health conversation, intergenerational mental health conversations. That is my personal favorite video we've ever made. That I feel like really addresses these kinds of topics. And in terms of like my own experience, my mom is an immigrant as well. And I think one thing that kind of like came out of us having conversations around mental health is really her realizing that maybe she had some mental health struggles that she had never really gotten to like acknowledge to herself. And I think just kind of like, recognizing that your parents probably are also struggling and that this conversation, their fear and their anger around your own the validity of your mental health probably comes from the fact that they never really got to address their own. Um, and so it's been a learning process for us both. And I think that that has been a really helpful reminder in like grounding myself when we have conversations that don't go the way that I want them to, or, when we have differences of opinion on mental health, just remembering that she's struggling too and she doesn't have the same resources that I do have. So.